Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Get Your Play Online. My name is Gracie, and tonight we will be reading a wonderful bedtime story. So, tonight's bedtime story is called Big Bird's Bedtime Story. We've got our fun Big Bird friend here, and you may have seen him before on his show, Sesame Street. All right, so let's get started. One summer evening on Sesame Street, Louis came by when Big Bird was getting ready for bed. He tucked Big Bird into his nest. "I am not sleepy yet," said Big Bird. "Will you let me tell a story, Louis? Or will you tell me a story, Louis?" "Sure, Big Bird," said Louis. "What kind of story would you like?" Big Bird thought for a minute. "Tell me a story about me," he said. "All right, Big Bird. Listen carefully. This story starts on the day of the special delivery to Mr. Hooper's store," begins Louis. "Early one morning, while everyone was still sound asleep, Sam's Dairy Farm truck made its daily delivery to Hooper's store. But there was something different, something special about this delivery. Instead of 10 boxes of eggs, the truck left one big box with one enormous egg in it. When David opened the store, Ernie and Grover helped him put the milk into the store's refrigerator, but none of them knew what to do with the big egg. I didn't order this egg," said David. "Why, it won't even fit into the refrigerator." "Don't worry, David," said Ernie. "We'll take care of the egg." And that's just what they did. They got Bert, Cookie Monster, and Telly Monster to help them. First, they gathered twigs in the park and straw from crates that a mover's van had left behind. Then they built a big nest for the egg. "Was the nest like mine, Louis?" asked Big Bird. "Yes," answered Louis. "It was exactly like yours, Big Bird." When the nest was finished, they carefully lifted the big egg into its new home. "Phew, that was hard work," said Grover. "We aren't done yet," said Bert. "Now we need to keep the egg warm so that it will hatch." "What does hatch mean?" asked Telly. "That is when the egg breaks and whoever is inside it is born," explained Bert. "Me keep big egg warm," yelled Cookie Monster. He climbed into the nest. "Wait a minute," cried Grover. "Be careful, Cookie. You might break the egg. We can keep this eggy warm with my cute cuddly blanket." And that is just what they did. "Hey, Bert, old buddy, that's the biggest pigeon egg I've ever seen," Ernie said, laughing. "Don't be silly, Ernie," said Bert. "That's much too big to be a pigeon egg. It might be a dinosaur egg. I saw one just like that at the museum." A dinosaur egg. "I hope it is a hippopotamus egg," said Telly Monster. "Little baby hippos do not come from eggs." "They come from big mommy hippos," said Grover smartly. "But dragons come from eggs. Do you think it is a dragon?" Big Bird broke into Louis's story. He wanted to know what was in the egg. "Was it my friend Mr. Snuffleupagus?" asked Big Bird. Louis smiled. "No, Big Bird, and dragons aren't real, and there haven't been any dinosaurs on Earth for millions of years. Lots of different birds and even turtles come from eggs. But the egg in my story," he said, "is the biggest egg in the world." No one wanted to leave the egg, but soon it was time for playgroup. "Do not be afraid," said Grover to the egg. "We will be back soon. Please do not hatch until we come back." They all said goodbye to the egg. When playgroup was over, they all rushed back to the nest. They told the egg all about what they had done at playgroup. Ernie showed the egg the picture he had painted. After dinner, they hurried back to the nest. The egg was exactly the same as before. I wish that egg would wake up and hatch, said Ernie. Oscar the Grouch popped his head out of his garbage can. I know how to wake up that crummy old egg. Hey, hey, I'll play some of my favorite Grouch music. And that's just what he did. Stop that horrible noise, shouted Bert. The egg needs to sleep, and so do I. Look at all that noise he's making. It was past their bedtime, so they all went home. Good night, said Bert. Good night, said Ernie. Sleep tight, Eggie, said Grover as he tucked in the egg. See you in the morning, said Telly. Louis, I thought this story was going to be about me, said Big Bird sleepily. Don't fall asleep now, Big Bird. Listen, we're coming to the good part, said Louis. The next morning, Grover was the first one awake. He couldn't wait to see if the egg had hatched. He tiptoed up to the nest and peeked inside. Come and look, everybody, shouted Grover. Telly Monster, Cookie Monster, Ernie, and Bert all came running to the nest. Even Oscar the Grouch couldn't wait to see what the noise was all about. There were 4 large cracks in the egg, and a pointy little beak was just poking through the shell. Peck, peck, said the egg. Oh my goodness, said Grover, it is hatching. Well, what's going to happen? Then the egg broke open at last, and they couldn't believe what they saw. Can you guess who hatched from the big egg in the nest? Louis asked Big Bird. But Big Bird was sound asleep. So there you go. At the end of the story, it was Big Bird who was born. So Louis was telling Big Bird all about how he was born. So I hope you enjoyed this story. Thank you so much for joining me again for bedtime stories tonight. And I hope you all sleep really well. Maybe you fell asleep before the bedtime story was over. Have a great week and a great night. Bye.